conservative new media viewers and Jeremy Lin fans around the world. We just wanted to talk about this game tonight where the Portland Trailblazers have defeated Lin and the Rockets in overtime, 95-85. It was Houston's first game at home this season. Now, I know a lot of people are probably going to be kind of down about this or whatever, but I really don't feel that way. And I'll tell you why. The Rockets were playing on a back-to-back. They were playing the second game in 2 nights, whereas Portland was fresh. Also, as I mentioned, this was Houston's home opener. And what happens a lot of times in home openers, particularly for young teams, is they use up so much energy because they're nervous. They want to perform well in front of the home fans. And so for a team that's already coming off of playing a game the previous night, that little energy burn from being the extra nerves can really drain you even more. And I think that's what happened to Houston in this game. They were doing well in the first half, and then the third quarter they just kind of lost it, and that's when fatigue will show up usually, is in the second half of games, and that's what happened tonight. But even with that happening, Houston still had a chance to win this game. If James Harden is able to execute whatever move he was going to do at the end of regulation, Houston wins this game. So like I said, you don't win every game in the NBA. It's a long season, and sometimes you get what are referred to as schedule losses. And that just means because of the way the schedule's set up, you're going to lose, even if it's not a tough team or whatever. I'm not going to say that that was necessarily the case here, that Houston had to lose, but this is this is not a surprising loss. And it's just, again, it's one game, not a big deal. And Harden and J-Lin played a lot of minutes last night in the win against the Hawks. I think Harden had like 42 minutes or something, and Lin played around 40 minutes. So all that being said, I think there were some good positives in this game. The first one, in the pregame, if you watched it, the introductions, they introduced James Harden last instead of Jeremy Lin. You know, usually the last person introduced is considered the most important or the most the most well-liked, or whatever you want to say it. Now, some people might think, oh, they're dissing J-Lin, but they're not. I think this is actually a really good move, because what they're doing with Harden is they're letting him be the face of the franchise. And what I mean by that is they're taking the pressure off of Lin. And I think that's a really good thing. Remember, J-Lin went into last season, not knowing if he was going to be able to stick around the NBA, on the brothers' couch, all that stuff. Everything's happened extremely quick for Jeremy. He got a $25 million contract. Now he's basically a global icon. He's sought after by companies to do endorsement deals. He's still trying to get used to that. And he's still trying to get his body back from the knee surgery, which he still isn't all the way back from, his conditioning and stuff. So I think it's really good that Houston is kind of putting more of the leadership and public relations burden on James Harden. I think that Harden is more ready for that. I mean, he was in the finals last year. He's used to playing on a high contending team, so I think it's really good. And also, as I mentioned in the video last night, Harden is more skilled than Jeremy Lin at this point in their careers. Now, I'm positive Lin can fill in the gaps in his game. A little bit more ball handling, a little bit better shooting, but he's not there quite yet, and that's okay. Because, again, that's why he can play a secondary role in a lot of ways to Harden, and that works for everybody. And again, when Lin is doing well, and when Lin is ready to have his Linsanity run, James Harden will be completely cool with that. So there's not any egos here, but it still puts Jeremy in a good position where he can just kind of chill out, work to get his body back, and then when he's ready to get back into Linsanity form, then he can do that. Jeremy had some nice moments tonight. He went late in the third quarter. What Houston is doing is they're making sure they have times in the game where Lin and Harden get to be on the court without the other one, meaning that guy gets to run the offense. So there's times when Lin's out on the court without Harden, and there's times when Harden's on the court without Lin. And late in the third quarter, Lin was on the court without Harden, and you started to see him start to get a little bit of his rhythm, a little bit of a groove, like little flashes of Linsanity stuff. You could see the confidence. He showed some burst in this game. He had a really nice layup, not the last layup, but one of the layups previous to that. Made a good move, went left to right, got a nice scoop layup. We talked about how he's still having trouble finishing at the rim because of his legs, but it's slowly coming back. And he played like 37 minutes tonight, and that's coming off of playing 40 minutes last night. So what that says to me is his conditioning is improving. So the conditioning's coming back. He's starting to get some explosiveness back. So as I said last night, I think it's still about 6 weeks away, but he's being able to perform like this, and he's not having setbacks with re-injuring the knee or anything. Very, very good signs. Of course, you saw what Jeremy did late in the fourth quarter where he hit the layup floater and got fouled for the and one. 3-point play. He converted it. And that's what we saw from Jeremy last year. Jeremy is a clutch player. He is a pressure performer. And we're seeing that again, and he showed that tonight. Now, I want to give credit to Damian Lillard because Lillard outplayed Lin in the overtime, and that guy is really good. He has an excellent chance to be the Rookie of the Year. I think it'll be between him and Anthony Davis, but Lillard is a real deal. I remember watching him play this preseason, I think against the Lakers or another team, and that guy is going to be a heck of a player in the NBA for a long time. So there's no shame in Lin getting a little bit outplayed by him in the overtime. Again, Lillard's fresh, Lin isn't, and Lin's still trying to get his body back. So, as I said, I feel fine about this game. Sure, I wish Houston would have won, but it's not a big deal. And I'm excited because, as I said, Lin is going to have the chance to grow as a player, grow with the franchise without having to be instantly pressured to be the face of the franchise and to be able to do everything he was doing last year right away. I think that he will be maximized as a player maybe in 2 to 3 years. As I said, it's going to take a couple off seasons to really, 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 really work on the ball handling, just to get better with the left hand and to work hard to not pick up his dribble when he gets trapped or when he's forced to his left. He still does that some, and that's not a good habit that you want to have. You'll see players like a Chris Paul or Steve Nash where they'll be surrounded by big guys in the middle of the lane, and they'll still keep dribbling. And that's what Jeremy wants to be able to do. You do not want to pick up your dribble, particularly when you're under pressure, because then you can be forced into bad passes. You'll have bad passing angles. And you can see Jeremy doing some of that tonight. But he'll get past that. Like I said, it's just going to take some time. As we've talked about before, Jeremy was a combo guard in college, shooting guard and a point guard. And so there's still a part of him that is not used to being a full-time point guard and having to have the ball handling and dribbling responsibilities constantly. And, of course, the competition in the Ivy League is nothing like the competition in the NBA. So it's the variety of factors going on in play there. But, again, he's a smart guy. He works hard. He will figure it out. It's just going to take a little bit of time. As we've said before, Steve Nash wasn't Steve Nash until about 5 or 6 years into the league. So Jeremy's doing just fine. And, again, with Harden being on the team, he will have the flexibility and the lack of pressure where he can develop at his own pace. Now, if you saw with Harden tonight, he was just missing shots and he had turnovers, and that's just fatigue. You know, his legs weren't there for a shot. He was making some poor decisions with turnovers, and he's just tired. I mean, he's played 40-plus minutes last night. He played 40-plus minutes tonight. You know, it can get these guys, particularly early in the season, guys aren't in maximum condition. They need to kind of get into midseason form, and they're not there yet. And, you know, Harden's still adjusting to moving to Houston and all this other stuff. But I'm fine with this game. I still think Linsanity 3.0 is definitely on the way, and it won't take too long for it to show up again. Jeremy definitely had flashes of that tonight, and he's showing that more and more. And it's just a matter of time. The only thing that matters for him right now is continue to play without having any physical setbacks. As long as he's able to do that, then it's just a matter of time before we're going to see the Jeremy Lin of last year in Linsanity run. So that's it for now. You guys give us your comments about what you saw tonight, what you're thinking about the game. One more quick thing. Different people have said, I've seen this on the internet, Houston's bench isn't that good. And I actually think their bench is not bad. Now, again, the whole team is young. So they're guys, they still have to figure out how to finish games and just, not have mental lapses in concentration. The only position that I think Houston is weak at on the bench is the point guard and Tony Douglas. Now, I'm not trying to put down Tony Douglas, but I think he is the weakest link in the bench. I like Aldridge as a backup center. They've got a couple different guys that can play power forward. Marcus Morris tonight, who did great. Terrence Jones. Carlos Delfino can play the 3 or the 2, shooting guard or small forward. So you have 9 or 10 guys that can play in the rotation. The weak link is backup point guard, which is not good, obviously, because that puts more pressure on Jeremy. But Tony Douglas actually, he played all right tonight. He played okay. He doesn't have to be perfect. Every bench in the NBA, even the teams with the best benches, there are always weak links, and some positions are better than others. So Tony Douglas is a little bit of the weak link here, but, he was decent tonight. And if Houston is interested in getting another backup point guard, they can look at that when the time comes. But, so that's it. Thumbs up, thumbs down the video. Of course, we encourage you to come and join the Conservative New Media Facebook group. Over 2,000 members and growing. You'll find a link for that in the video description below the video player, where we will also put full set of links about tonight's game, including video highlights and game stories. I am Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. You are watching Conservative New Media. We strive to be the #1 YouTube fan channel for Jeremy Lin news and information. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.